June Paik is coined to be the first video artist to experiment with electronic media. He was born in Seoul, South Korea in 1932. Later, he graduated from the University of Tokyo in 1956 after studying art, music, history, and philosophy. Paik continued music studies in Germany and, after meeting Cage and Stockhausen, transitioned to electronic art. He was part of the Fluxus movement and first worked with television in 1963. In 1964, he moved to New York, where he would continue to work with music and video performance, staying in the United States for the rest of his career. Paik created his Beatles Electronique in 1966 with the help of June Yalkut. During the live broadcasts of the Beatles, Paik electromagnetically improvised distortions on the receiver. Later, he also included previously taped material from experiments with filming off the monitor of a Sony videotape recorder. Along with his video manipulations, an electronic soundtrack added by Ken Werner called 4 Loops plays electronically altered loops of Beatles sound material. Paik uses this distortion and fragmentation of television as well as the reuse of images from mass media to interrupt televisual conventions. While the actual medium of television is being altered, the image of the Beatles is also altered, becoming a moving memorial to the consumed, commodified, and therefore fragmented cultural icons. The notion of television and the image of an icon is reinstilled and removed from its conventional realm. In Paik's work, the automatic information typical of television is greatly altered, using streams of colored lights and distortions. Images become less about the information they hold than about pure aesthetics, only placing the actual visual information or images of the Beatles in the background. According to David Joslet in his article, Tale of the Tape, Radical Software, the intent of this image overloading is to escape the automatic information experience of commercial television without totally divesting it of the usual content. The images become distorted and incoherent, therefore removing the typical grip of televisual information. The non-linear, indistinguishable temporal arrangement also moves the piece away from the conventions of mass media and the immediacy and stability resulting from live television, placing the work in a removed position which calls for new actions from the viewer and opens up further critique. According to William Kazin, in Live on Tape, Video, Liveness, and the Immediate, televisual immediacy, despite its mediation, seems to include viewers more than other media. It locks them in place as if they were called out to directly, there and then, even when the event or person shown is miles away. As was typical of this time, the Beatles were an extremely fixed cultural icon, seen by most people on the television. During live broadcasts, people became fixed and mesmerized by their appearance, capturing them in the immediacy of the broadcast as if they were present in the homes of millions. By distorting the image, viewers become removed from the trance-like state, able to analyze mass media culture and the absorption result. As typical of Paik's work, according to Patricia Mellencamp in The Old and the New, June Paik, Paik's work is reciprocal and experiential, a process that completes itself through our response. As the viewer catches glimpses of the Beatles, first in almost indistinguishable headshots with multicolored ribbons overlaid, then with more clarity, and eventually with full stills of the band without interruption, the short-lived state which offers moments of a sense stability are quickly removed. The piece constantly plays with televisual conventions, altering and disrupting them to bring the viewer into an active position where they can both visually pick out the recognizable figures while also delving into the aesthetics of the multicolored distortion. June Paik and Yalkut's Beatles Electronique provides a venue for the critical analysis of television and mass media culture, removing the viewer from their typical passive state through the use of distortion and fragmentation of a live broadcast of the Beatles. As Martha Rosler states in Video Shedding the Utopian Moment, artists were responding not only to the positioning of the mass audience but also to the particular silencing or muting of artists as producers of living culture in the face of the vast mass media industries. By altering television footage, Paik is able to speak up as an artist and viewer to address the impact of mass media